Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're doing well. Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to the HamSCI Telecon. Let's see. This week, I just got through the New Year, as I'm sure everyone else has as well. I've been quite busy trying to set up SDR receivers at my house and personal space weather stations in Grape. So I redid all of my ham shack and have that all lined up now. So I now have a Kiwi SDR on the air and a few other things. As you heard with Christina, we now have the HamSCI workshop committee has been meeting, and we are trying to get the HamSCI workshop set up and underway. I know it's coming up really fast, so we have a lot of work to do, but I think we have some really good ideas for it too. We're going to focus on a mid-latitude science theme for this year. And the reason for that is the personal space weather station is predominantly probably going to be adopted by people who live in the mid-latitudes. Because if you look at the RBN and the Whisper maps from ham radio for the past, decade or so, the majority of the adopters are focused in the continental United States and Europe, and mostly in mid-latitudes. So we really need to know what kind of science we can do with that. So we do have two invited speakers, tutorial speakers that have confirmed already. Dr. Michael Rahanami from Virginia Tech. He was my PhD advisor. He's a super darn guy, and they've been building mid-latitude super darn radars for the past decade. So he has a lot to say about that. And and he's going to represent the academic side of things. And then we have Joe Dzekiewicz, K1YOW. He's going to talk about sporadic E, especially at the mid-latitudes. And he's going to represent the amateur radio side of things. And he's the one that just published a paper in CQ magazine and has been working with Phil. So that's pretty much what's been going on over here. A couple other things. I'm going to be working with Dev. We're going to try to more regularly schedule a science speaker to meet at this telecon time. And that's going to be one of Dev's jobs, is to start trying to get a regular speaker in for each of these bi-weekly telecons and make sure we have that scheduled. So I think that's it for me for today. So I will just go down the list here. And so next on my list is Carl, K9LA.
Oh, how you doing, everyone? Nathaniel and Christina and everybody. Yeah, I'm having a little trouble with the camera. The lighting isn't too good, so well, I'm just listening today. So looking forward to it. Back to you, Nathaniel.
Thank you so much, Carl. That sounds great. Next on the list, I have Dev. Go ahead, Dev.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm doing well. I'm looking forward to this telecon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dev. Next for EJ.
Oh, that would be me. Recovering from vacation, if you want to call it that. Got a few grape systems out. I'm wrangling with a sound card problem with the next 4 to go out. Just went through my stash of previous distributions, and I've updated almost everything, so I don't have an old version to copy from. So I'll be diving into the also driver stuff in Linux for probably the next day, and hopefully figure this out before I finish shipping out all the rest of the systems. And I've made some progress on the analog design for the front end 4-channel radio. So,
which I'm very much looking forward to. Thank you. That sounds great. And
what's
now
in
we'll
the
go
back,
to Bill.
John?
Oh,
what's at the back?
What's in the back there?
The receiver and the mixer and an amplifier and an AUD that feeds into the Pi. It's going to be a 4-channel simultaneous sampling 16-bit A to D that we can simultaneously read 4 radios at the same time in the time slice.
I think Bob might be asking about that display that is showing.
It's behind you.
The jumping, on the bench.
All right, I'll take the bite. You can show that there. Oh, it's backwards. No, it's not. That is a clock that I developed using some 1960s Sperry neon displays. And that's a diagnostic program because I'm making a new display with 4-inch LED displays for our ham shacks at school. So
It looks like fun.
Some of the test code that's running to drive everybody crazy.
Is it anything like Scotty's 4-letter word generator?
No, it doesn't generate 4-letter words. I work on it long enough, it'll generate its own 4-letter words.
It looks like something came off of the instrument panel of a Klingon warship. I mean, that's kind of.
You're giving my secrets away, Bill. I have one parked in the backyard.
Well, next we'll go over to Bill, Alpha Bravo 4, Echo Juliet.
Okay, thanks, Nathaniel, and a good afternoon to you and to the other members of the net here. What I've been working on is trying to make an improvement to the mechanism I have for showing the tangerine spectrum data, which is coming from the simulator, but it's live data because it's coming from the Flex, so that I can show it in a waterfall. But the waterfall that comes with GNU radio is only about this tall, and it stuff scrolls right off of it in no time. So I found where to change that. So, well, what that requires me to build GNU radio, and I'm working with Dan, N4XWE, I think is his call, to get a buildable version of GNU radio. And it turns out that the latest, you need to have the latest GNU radio in order to be able to run the latest completely rewritten UDP source for it to be fast enough to deal with the data coming from the Flex at 48 kilosamples per second, which means you got to basically start over. You got a clean install of the latest update of the operating system, new Python 3.9, and you need a new PY bind 11, and you need the new this, the new that, and GNU radio version 3.9. So anyway, I was telling him today, it reminds me of Lewis Carroll's caucus race, where you have to do, it's all the running you can do to stay in the same place. So all right, I'm working on that. So also working at a not at a frenetic pace, because we have some time on this, but working towards getting a first draft of the NASA proposal put together. So that's what I've been doing. Back to Nick.
Thank you very much, Phil. That's all excellent. Over to Bob, WK2Y.
Hello, everyone. Totally unrelated to, and Happy New Year. And totally unrelated to ham radio, I've been shanghaied to do some COVID analysis for 9N1 land. I'm not sure exactly when that will wrap up, but keeping me preoccupied. I did have time, however, over the holiday to build a little QRP-o-meter, which was fun, nice kit. And in order to justify my purchase of the Nano VNA, I bought these. They're low-pass filters, and I will actually stick them on the Nano VNA and see if they work, so that when I go out with my WB8 ICQ, my friend Scott, on QRP sodas, we hopefully don't stomp on one another. So again, Happy New Year all, and back to Nathaniel.
Thank you very much, Bob. That sounds great. I like your new Christmas gifts there. So let's see. Next, the list is jumping around a little bit. I think Christina bubbled to the top.
Oh, sure.
OXT.
Thanks. We've, you pretty much covered it before. We've been putting things together for the workshop. Looking forward to seeing some abstracts for that. I think I put the thing in the chat. Is 9M1 land Malaysia, by the way? Is that what you meant by that, Bob, or somewhere else?
It's Dev's homeland. It's Nepal.
Oh, okay. They have 9M1 call
Oh,
signs
really?
too.
I don't know.
Yeah. What are you showing, John?
That's the demo board for the VNA.
Oh, that's delightful.
Oh,
Did you make that?
No, I got it off the web. It
Oh,
was
really?
like 19
RF.
That's
bucks.
nice. That's for the little baby ones.
Yeah.
RF demo.
Awesome.
I should get one of those because I have a Nano VNA in the box and I haven't done anything with it.
And
Yeah,
this is
Christina,
just-
we used that as a classroom demonstration.
Yeah, I was gonna
last
say, I
year.
remember that.
Yeah,
I got that for you guys.
yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
it's all coming back. I always I remember the experience of using the thing, but the thing itself sometimes disappears from my memory completely. So it's one of
John,
those.
Welcome to the club. Those
John,
memory
could you-
pills that David hit on me.
Could
All
you
right.
please could you send me a link to that?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's right on here. Sysjoint.com, but I'll post it.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Stick that in the chat. Okay, so yeah, putting things together for the conference. I'm going through data from the December eclipse. I just got this adorable letter from a ham in Canada today with the flash drive taped to it because his internet is too slow to upload things. So I got to check that out. And he sent Christmas songs. So that's
Nice.
been fun. I did the count. I got 81 stations. So we'll see if anything comes out of that for their bulletins as events warrant.
Scan
back
it
to that.
first.
Thank you very much, Christina. That sounds great. Very nice on the Christmas songs. All right. Carl, let's see. Already heard from Carl. It's hard when these things move around, you know. David McGaw, N1HAC from Dartmouth.
Hello. Yeah, we got the late afternoon sun here, causing interesting video. Yeah, the Nano VNA demo board is available all over the place, eBay and Amazon and whatnot. All you have to do is look it up. I have plenty of demo stuff myself, so I didn't spring the bucks to get one. So the stuff I'm working on, pretty busy actually. Setting up a test magnetometer system for Tangerine SDR with the magnetometer that we're working with, and then a couple of lab grade or science grade mags. The primary one I think is going to work well is one that we use in our sounding rockets and scientific balloons, Bardington. And then working on setting up a VLF station to check propagation on NAA to support the Viper sounding rocket. Turns out where I am relative to Cutler, Maine is a very interesting skip spot. So I know we've done receivers in the past, but they've all disappeared. So I got to wire something new up, but not a big deal. Yeah, working on a couple of CubeSats as well. So staying busy here, all propagation stuff. So back to net.
Thank you very much, David. That sounds very good. Let's go to John Magliacane, KD2BD.
Hey, folks. Let's see. Since the last time I was here, I ported my satellite tracking program to Android, actually a Termux command line interface, and it enables me to take this portably, and it speaks to me and tells me coordinates of satellite passes and things like that. So that's kind of fun. And not to be left out, I recently purchased a Nano VNA, which I've been playing around with the past couple of days. And on January 1st, I was pleased to contact David during straight key night using a homebrew transmitter. So things are good, staying well. I'm working right now. Things are kind of quiet right now on the work front. So things are good. Hope everyone else is staying well and staying safe.
Thank you very much, John. Very good.
Yeah, I
Next.
posted the VNA thing in the chat room. If you
Yeah,
just
thanks.
search on VNA demo board kit, you'll find it.
Thank you very
They're
much.
about $20.
Yeah, that's great. I think I'll get one of those. Let's see. And next, Mike Neruda, AAK, I think.
Greetings to everyone on the conference. Back to you, Nathaniel.
Thank you very much. And Tom, N5EG. Why do you always end up at the end of the list, Tom?
I don't know. It's a special talent for falling to the bottom. Been working on coming up to speed on WX Python, and got that work. I've got a demo working. I'm working on a utility to set and read the module and ASIC registers for the Tangerine receiver. The only thing we're missing is the data engine, the FPGA, and any definition of the interface protocol for doing it. But other than that, the demo is interesting. Back to group.
Thank you very much. I think that takes us to the end of the list. Did I miss anybody? David Kasdan, how did I miss you? Go ahead, David.
Yeah, I just kind of linger in the corners. It's okay. Let's see. John NAOBJ was kind enough to supply me with a Nano VNA. And yes, they're great fun. You do have to be careful about the impedance terminations, but they're really very cool. John KD2BD, it was fun running into you on the air for Straight Key Night. You reminded me that I needed to get a new box of QSL cards. So my new ones are en route. I will get one to you. Wait just a little while. Back to the Nano VNA. Christina and I are teaching the electromagnetic fields class again. Nathaniel has his version of it running along. We found last term students really enjoyed studying Smith charts of all bizarre things. So we'll be presenting that again, and we'll probably make bigger use of VNAs and the Nano VNA for that. We have a couple of other demonstrations of use of phasor analysis along transmission lines and in antenna space. Nathaniel, you've heard us joking about Beadleo, the Oxcart driver's Smith chart to go along with Baba Yaga's phasor. We in fact have a metal fabricator in Toledo, west of here, who I asked about making a twisted piece of flat bar for the phasor demonstration. And he's all enthusiastic about it and is letting us specify it and won't let us pay for it. So we need to finish that up, but that'll be sort of the first draft of Beadleo's Smith charts. So
we're also teaching that one online this semester. So we're always
I keep forgetting about that. All of our demos are ruined.
When are you teaching it?
We're planning it through this month because they've changed the university calendar. Ordinarily, we'd be back at school probably starting today or tomorrow, but this year we're starting 1st of February. So January is our planning, and then everything's going to go full online after that. So all of our, tabletop demos we basically can't do. So we're using lots of online ones, but it turns out that HTML5 applets have gotten pretty good, and so we can embed them in our Canvas quizzes and things. So if anybody knows good online demos specifically for DivGrad and curl, we've only found like 2 and only one that we kind of like so far, and none of them have dipoles for some reason.
This is yours, David.
Oh, right.
I got the
if I'm able to, would I be able to come to any of your classes?
Oh yeah, we'll have a Zoom link. I can send it to you if you're curious, and I'll be recording and making a playlist.
Okay, yeah, if you could do that.
Yeah, sure.
My E&M2 class is incredibly theoretical, which works great for online classes, but perhaps is less interesting to engineers.
We gave up on having it too theoretical because we only get one semester. There is no E&M2. And to have any real engineering content, something has to go. So if you're going to have any real engineering content to it, it's got to be a little touchy-feely rather than mathy.
Yeah. Well, do you know what the time slot is for your class yet?
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 2 to 3.
I might be able to maybe.
That'd be fun.
I have to check.
Yeah, we'll be in touch.
Actually, okay, that sounds great.
All right.
Better mark it in your calendar.
I know.
And have John send you memory
I
pills.
think I have. I'm looking at.
He has the good ones. And with COVID, we can't get together. He can't get them to me.
Yeah, so actually, yeah, that actually would work in my schedule. So
I had some memory pills, but I forgot where I put them.
It's been our problem.
Yeah, well, John keeps hiding mine. I have no idea where they are.
They're on your head.
That's right, damn it.
That's what I did with them. No wonder I can't grow any more hair.
So actually we should have a little bit of a science talk. Are you guys familiar? Let's see, we haven't met since before AGU, have we? No.
No, we haven't.
I could put Dev on the spot for a minute because Dev, do you want to show up your AGU poster?
Ooh. AGU poster?
Yeah.
Okay, I have to find it out first because it's been a while.
Okay. Actually, and Christina, you have an AGU poster too, right? That this group hasn't seen yet. So you can show your AGU poster.
I'll post a link. There's not much to it really that I haven't already summarized, but sure.
Right. And I can get my AGU poster up too, so I don't feel left out. And this will give us a chance to do some science discussion.
Yeah.
Just quickly, while you guys are looking for those, I had a couple comments for John. One was that looking very much forward to 4-channel 16-bit sampling, because we've had a number of interferometers out in the field with 3 and 4 channels and 12 and 14-bit. So that'll be very nice. The other comment is I've got a Heathkit calculator that has those displays on it.
Yeah. Actually, I've got an old rack mount 3.5 digit DMM, voltage DMM. I think it's like 2 volts full scale that's got those in it from the 60s. But they're made by Sperry Rand from 1964, 65.
Right. Yep. They're Sperry's. And I have one that doesn't have the Keep Alive in it.
Oh, really?
So you have to put a number in it before it'll display anything.
It's interesting. If you turn on in total darkness, it'll take 30 to 45 seconds before they turn on. If you turn on a fluorescent light like that, they come on.
Yeah, it uses the ionization.
All the UV
from
from
ambient
the light.
light.
Yeah, it doesn't take much, but.
Okay. So Dev and Christina, you can just share your screen if I give you permission.
May I start?
Yes, go ahead. And so people know this is since AG was virtual this year, they had what are called iPosters, and it's an electronic poster format. And we're actually going to try using it for the HamSCI workshop this year. So on Saturday afternoon, instead of having oral presentations, we're going to try doing these iPoster things. So see how you like them and take it away, Dev.
So this was my poster that I presented in AGU. There was a session time allotted for visitors to come by and ask questions, and I had only one visitor. But it was available there for the entire duration during the AGU. And it is still available. So the title was Developing an Ionospheric Sounding Mode Using CHOP Ionosondage of Opportunities for the HamSCI Personal Space Weather Station Status and Early Results. So it has some early results from the CHOP Ionosonde data that we have collected here at Scranton. I started with the introduction. We talked about the objective of the ham radio science citizen investigation. It is to develop a distributed array of ground-based multi-instrument nodes capable of remote sensing the geospace system. And along those multi-instrument nodes, I have presented about one individual node in this poster, which is CHOP Ionosonde.
Excuse me, Deb. If you click the preview, I think they'll make it a little easier for you to show.
Where is preview? I tried, but that was not easy. Before going online, sharing my screen, there was no option.
Oh, they changed it. Okay.
You
can still get to it. All right, I keep going then.
Yeah,
Sorry about that.
Yeah. So individual, as all of us know, individual nodes are being designed to service the needs of the professional space science researcher, while being cost accessible and of interest to amateur radio operator and citizen scientist. And at the heart of the HamSCI PSWS will be a high performance 1 to 50 megahertz software defined radio with GNSS based precision time stamping and frequency reference. So this is known as Tangerine SDR and is being developed by Tucson Amateur Packet Radio, TAPR Amateur Radio Nation. And before that gets developed, we are trying to implement a sounding mode in the ITUS N200 Universal Software Radio Peripheral, USRP. And we are collecting and analyzing the data using the open source GNU Chop Sounder data collection and analysis code developed by Uha Verinen, professor at the University of Tromsø, Norway. So this is the architecture which shows that it shows like multi-instrument that could go into the it shows the idea and the architecture. So it went like in the preview in the preview mode, when we clicked on the image, it used to grow large. So it looks like that no longer is available, but anyone who has attended any conference or talks on the on this PSWS must have seen this image before. So here is an antenna, here is GNSS discipline oscillator, ground-based magnetometer, software-defined radio, computer, and once we collect data, we in the future we plan to upload the entire data to some HamSCI public database and central control system. And the objectives are to advance scientific research and understanding through amateur radio activities, encourage the development of new technology to support this research, provide educational opportunities for the amateur radio community and the general public. So with that,
What are you using for an antenna, Dev?
Say it again, please.
What's your antenna?
The antenna is shown up here. The antenna is GS6BKW at 30 feet altitude. So this is multi-band HF antenna employed in receiving the HF signals at the receiver station. The receiver station is in Springbrook, Pennsylvania, 10 miles from Scranton at Nathaniel's house. The site location was chosen because we expected to have a radio quiet environment, which we have confirmed. And it was processed using this N200 kit software-defined radio with the software developed by analysis software Software 2 developed by Uha Verinen, and the process started with the data capture with Thor, which comes with digital RF, a US RP N200, a GPS DO, and a broadband HF antenna. And with the installation, after some analysis, we got these ionograms. This is for one coming from the transmitter in Virginia. Like there is a transmitter relocatable over the horizon radar. So I applied filters to look at the signals received from those stations. So I have some a few more of those ionograms from the station, and I also tried to ray trace and to see if I could model those results, which I succeeded. And I created a video. Maybe it will be worth watching. Give me.
I got the poster into regular mode over on my computer if you want me to show the video, Dev.
What was the trick?
I don't know. So, here, let me share my screen.
These are
I went in through the regular AGU. I went in through the regular AGU program. So here's your. I think it'll work. Here you go.
okay. So that was the okay. David McGaw, Professor David McGaw says that the antenna is a G5RV derivative, and unfortunately, it's not a true broadband antenna. I'd like to try one of our broadband receiving loops for it. Nathaniel, would you want to comment on that?
Yeah, well, first, I'm not a professor, I'm a research engineer at Dartmouth.
Okay.
But we use broadband receiving loops for our research, which might be effective for this application. You know, the full size sounders use like 100-foot delta loops, well, for receiving, actually, they do use broadband small loops, but yeah, the G5RV's got resonances, so you're going to have to be more sensitive at certain frequencies than others.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually just Gil Jefford just brought my RF Pro 1B mag loop back from Antarctica over to my house like yesterday. So I'm going to put that up here and try that out too.
Yeah, antennas work better in the cold when they've been frozen.
Yeah,
cold hardened.
They perform better when they're cold hardened and well traveled, right?
Yes.
They have to be penguin tuned.
Yep, but we have a number of our loops down at South Pole.
Which loop do you use your custom design?
Yeah, the Mike Trimpe loop.
Right.
We've got ones from 5 foot on a side to 20 feet on a side. We use the really big ones for AKR, which is at a megahertz.
Nice.
But I can use it up to 10 megahertz or above our designs, which probably would be sufficient for NVIS sounder. Of course, I don't know how how far away are you from the sounder transmitter? How oblique is your path there?
We're about, did we say 400, 500 kilometers away from the sounder?
Yes.
Still fairly high wave angle, I'd expect.
Yeah.
So what's the maximum frequency you're getting reflections at?
We can see in the ionograms.
From the few. It seems like it's typically between like 8 and 10 megahertz.
Yes.
Is that high, right?
I was thinking, yeah, our loop would work, and of course a lot of the like the Lowell Digison uses a broadband loop, fairly small. How hard is it to bring this software up? We have a USRP N200. I'd like to give it a try.
We'd love to have you do it. If you have a Linux machine with GNU radio and digital RF, it
Mhm.
should be fairly easy.
Yeah, digital RF
It's
is
still
the
held
part I
together
haven't
by a
used.
bit of it's still held together by a bit of duct tape and string, if you might say. It's still kind of experimental. So what
Yeah.
I've been doing is I've actually given Yuha root access to my computer over here, and he comes in and does stuff, and he has a script called yuha.sh that we run.
Right.
And that gets everything started. So
Yeah, we've worked that way before. He helped us set up our original AM Doppler system.
yeah, so the trick right now is to dynamically find in real time, to detect in real time the chirps and then decode them in real time. You need to be able to store say like 5 minutes of HF spectrum on disk, and then you run that as a ring buffer. So he's running that. So we're saving that to a RAM disk right now. So we have a rather large machine that I just got for doing that. If you know the timings already, it doesn't require as large of a machine. So what we want to do is Dev is working on figuring out how to back out the schedule from these things. And then we'll have, 1 or 2 big machines do the detection and then post that schedule information for that are not quite as powerful to just be able to do the decoding.
Right.
So Nathaniel, I think I can share my screen in the same way. So the trick was to not log in the AGU. So if you please stop sharing, I can share. Okay. So we had some preliminary results. This is how I wanted to show it earlier. 6 to 8 megahertz of 8, nearly 10, nearly slightly above 10, 8. In some of these cases, it has gone as high as 12, which I have not included here. I say it out of my memory. And these are the I showed the video. So in future, we want to keep expanding the work, and we have recently discussed these with other researchers, and we want to implement this ATAS N200 at few other places around the transmitter, so that we can have data at multiple places from a same transmitter, so that if we detect a geophysical phenomena in the ionosphere thermosphere, we can analyze it from multiple locations, especially the TIDs, and understanding the characteristics of TIDs. Having data from multiple places will be extremely helpful. So right now I'm at a stage of analyzing data to look for TID parameters in the observations, and in future we want to expand that. I think Ethan Miller is setting up similar station at one of his places, and there are a few other places. Maybe Nathaniel can make a comment, and we want to expand this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'd like to expand it to at least a number of stations within a 500-kilometer radius of the sounder. I think one of the tricks right now is getting enough hardware because the EDIS N200s are quite expensive. So, David, if you're able to contribute some data to this project, we'd very much appreciate it. And then as the Tangerine SDRs become available, we want to start using those instead. So that which of course that's what this project with the Personal Space Weather Station project is designed to fund, this new hardware. So we'd like to be using those instead of the EDISs as soon as we possibly can.
How could I get the code that you're running?
It's on GitHub.
Oh, great.
Let me look for the GitHub link.
It's called Chirp Sounder 2.
Can you get a regular hard drive to have enough bandwidth? Or do you have to run a large RAM drive?
Yuha recommended running a large RAM drive. We didn't really try it. He said an SSD would probably work as well.
Oh, okay.
He didn't think a regular hard drive was fast enough.
Well, we certainly have SSDs I could press into service.
So yeah, Dev just put the link in
Oh,
the
right.
chat
Yeah,
there.
it's on his GitHub. Got it.
Thank you very much, Dev. Any
Thank you so
questions for Dev?
Yeah, this is Tom. Real quick question. Some of the ionograms, especially the video, show diffuse magenta, sort of like figure 8 there. You can see diffuse magenta up at 12 or 14 megahertz.
These?
No, a figure 8.
Figure 8.
Over these?
Yeah. Do you have any idea what causes that or what it is?
Those are
Is that-
C scatter or ground scatter.
Ah, okay. So it's a scatter.
There's actually Yuha or Dev, someone found a nice paper that summarizes some of the signatures you see in these oblique soundings. I can send that paper to you, Tom.
Okay, I was just curious. I didn't know if it was anomalous or what it was, but scatter sounds plausible.
So I think like these are like due to the diffuse nature of the surface, not the specular reflection as would happen from this nicely well stratified ionospheric layer.
Yeah.
So these are like diffuse reflections occurring from diffuse surface, either from sea or ground.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you so much, Dev. Christina, do you want to go over your poster?
Oh, sure. I'll give a brief review. Real quick, I put a link in the chat a little bit ago that starts with AGU 2020 fall meeting.iposter or something like that. Could you guys click that and see if it'll open up for you? Because then you should be able to see the content at your own time as well.
I think it's all paywalled.
Okay, there's definitely an open version of it, and I'd like to see if I can
Really?
figure out which one that is. Because mine seems to be circumventing it a little too neatly.
I thought
got
they locked
into it.
all of it. You got into it?
HamSCI site,
Sorry, what?
AGU 2020 fall meeting -AGU poster sessions.
Yes. So all of our posters should be available on the
Oh, you have the
AGU.
guest view equals true.
I
Yeah,
got
and
into it.
Did that one work?
I got into it. Yeah.
So someplace in all of this, right? There's about 10 links that are in my browser history. And I think this is true of everybody who put one of these posters together. Where there's like the link that you used for when you were creating your poster, and then there's the link for when you were previewing your poster, but before the deadline passed for editing your poster. And then there's somewhere in all of this, there's a persistent link that you should be able to send people. And I want to know which one it is, so I don't keep sending people a link that they can't access.
The trick to doing that is to clear your browser history.
That looks like it works. Christina.
The new one? Okay, cool.
The guest view equals true.
All right, that's good.
I just did it in an incognito window.
And that's people can open that one up. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
And
this
actually,
one,
the one without the guest view equals true is working too. Maybe
that might be because you're logged into your AGU account.
But I'm on the incognito mode.
Then I have no idea what's going on. But if people can access it, then I guess we're good for now.
The other thing is something changed after, I know they changed something on January 4th or 5th with the iPosters going from like meeting mode to archive mode.
Yes.
So maybe now that everything's in archive mode, maybe you can just click these.
I don't know. I know that there is a certain, you know, perpetual thing for it. That fellow should look familiar. All right, let's see. So, yeah, this for the poster, I focused mainly on the sort of human factors side of the Eclipse Festival for a couple of reasons. The main one being that I still wasn't really done putting my data code base together, and that the December eclipse happened during AGU. So I was trying to get this figured out at the same time that I was organizing that experiment. But here's some general information about the June Eclipse Festival and the progress of that. This one had, by my count, 45 stations that participated, 6 continents, and it was conducted for the annular solar eclipse, which you can see the eclipse path here on June 21st. Most of this is recapitulating stuff from previous talks. Why it's useful to have pilot experiments to close the data collection loop, make the connection between data collection and analysis, and be able to sort of rapid prototype, if you will, some of the ways that you might handle the techniques of data collection. And I found that the community was particularly receptive to that sort of thing. This was something that I talked about in one of these telecons with you guys when we were figuring it out at the time, was I had people listening to time standard stations in order to take Doppler measurements, which is a thing that we've used for the Festival of Frequency Measurement before, and basically a prototyping of the GRAPE station. And we found that there were multiple time standard stations which flummoxed the frequency estimation algorithm because it would jump from one to another. So in response to this, I had people collect wave files instead of derived data product because it was a short-term experiment. And I could revise that experiment protocol pretty rapidly. When we came to December, that was what I had everybody do from the get-go. Found that the experiment period at 3 days was a little short to get good control data. For the December experiment, extended it to a week. Found, I think this is maybe one of the more useful notes for long-term deployment, that having localized clusters of these stations can be very useful, not only because you get a way to check them against one another on a technical level, but also because you have groups of friends that put them together and check their results. Yeah, then we have some of the nice photos that were sent by people. I will note, for anyone considering putting an iPoster into the HamSCI 2021 workshop, which you should, that I think they're going to incorporate by then the functionality to include iframes, which should allow us to include more detailed information, like the link I'm about to drop in the chat here, provided that I can remember how to use Zoom. There's a map of at least some of the stations, sorry about that, which registered and participated in data collection for December. And yeah, so that's this poster. There's another one which David has, but I can't seem to find the link for it, on plans for the 2024 eclipse as well, and ideas for that sort of thing, which was part of the eclipse session, as was this. So that's the brief review, and hopefully we've figured out how to get the iPoster links to be usable.
Looks like we lost David.
Yeah, he said he had another meeting, so.
Oh,
but I can see if I can dig that one up. Aiden also co-authored it. We're thinking of, since totality comes right across campus for us, we're thinking of like ways that we can plug into all the community organizations, make it a big, longer term event, and then integrate scientific data collection and also, the arts and the cultural organizations in the area. So that was what the other poster was on. And you should be able to find that somewhere in the AGU archives that I haven't figured out how to navigate yet, but it's there. So, all right. Any questions on that one? I'm still going through data for it. I have a big pile of WAV files that I'm collating and getting everything fixed and so forth. So
I'm curious, how many different stations have you been able to identify in the data? There is a lot of activity on 10 megahertz.
yeah, there is. So I did have, I've had a lot of the folks reporting in about which stations they heard. And frequently people will pick up on things that I had never thought about because I'm on the wrong side of the planet to care. There's time standard stations. I've got a map that I need to get integrated into the map that I just linked to you of all of the 10 megahertz time standard stations. So that's one set of things. Then there's a couple of over the horizon radars. There's a couple of time standard stations that are just off of 10 megahertz. And then there's like a couple of mystery signals that people are like arguing about. So I think what's very likely is as I go through it, I'm planning on sort of building like a taxonomy of signals and being like, okay, I heard this one here and here. Does anyone know what it is? And then I'm just going to make that list and send it to them and let them figure it out, because people are very acquainted with signals in their area and they're very keen to debate which ones they've heard. So there's, that's going to be an interesting part of it. There have been a lot of reports of like, oh, I heard this at this point, and maybe we'll be able to use some of them and maybe some of them will get in the way. Right now, part of it is I'm still figuring out, like, it's a big data set and I'm thinking of things to do with like one or two of the file sets that I've gotten, one or two stations, comparing them with each other based on being favorably positioned and so on and so forth. I haven't yet figured out how I want to, try to tackle it holistically. Things that I can do where I can look at the whole, all of the data sets at once and see what data can be extracted there. So that's still underway. Further bulletins as events warrant, ideas welcome.
Yeah, I was curious because some nights it gets very confusing on 10 megahertz.
Yep.
I can hear WWV and WWVH. Often pick up the Brazilian time station here in New Hampshire. And then one night I was here in China.
Oh, you heard BPM in New Hampshire. That's cool. That also, just to like, maybe it's helpful, maybe it'll ruin everything, I don't know. The Argentinian Navy turned on their time standard station for the eclipse. And I don't know who else was doing things with that time standard station. It wasn't a personal favorite of me or anything. This was already underway, but they turned it on like a day before. So I've got like 3 days of data with LOL. The names are LOL and PPE. Like, you couldn't get better call signs. Except for BPM. But the the Argentinian station is off for 3 days of data, and then it's on for 3 days of data. So that's going to be another thing to look at, is that we've got PPE and then also LOL turning on. But I do have at least a few stations that are on different sides of the path of totality. And I think that's probably going to be my first step. And I recruited some people kind of specifically in a couple of locations using the QRZ database, which was really helpful for that. You can use the list maker and be like, okay, I want all of the hams that are within 100 kilometers of this point. And it'll give you, all the email addresses. So I have scripts for being able to spam people, and they were remarkably okay with being spammed. I didn't get anybody writing back being like, how did you get this number? So on the whole, I've really been blown away by how happy people are to help with it. And I think that it's very encouraging for things that we might do with the personal space weather station and data campaigns moving forward.
I agree with that. That's very nice.
Thanks.
Well,
anything else, or back to Matt? Back to Matt.
I think it was a really good job. All right. Thanks, Christy. That was an excellent job. Well, we are coming to the top of our hour here. So I think this is very good. Any final comments before we wrap up and say 73? All right. Well, I hope everyone has a good day. Deb, give me about 5 minutes and then I'll see you on another telecon. And I hope everyone has a great day. So
Thank
happy New Year and thanks for joining us.
Stay safe out there on
73.
73.
Happy solstice, happy perihelion, all that stuff.
Happy Distaff Day.
Distaff Day. Yeah.
Yes,
Distaff
happy
Day.
Distaff Day. Yes.
You get back to your weaving. Day after Epiphany.
Thank you.
Oh, Nathaniel, I think I found a way to make a map for that meeting tomorrow.
Oh, great.
I'll just show this to you lickety split and then I'll let you get back to what you're doing. But have you ever used Marble? This is what
No.
the Statnogs guys at Tapper were using. And if it doesn't disappear on me.
Is this an open source version of Google?
Yeah, it's a bad open source version of Google Earth, but it should do what we need it to do. If I can, like, it has Eclipse paths built in. It has an APRS plugin. It doesn't seem to let me plot points. So that's, I'm still working on that part. It'll like give you routing from one location to another, but at least we'll have a virtual globe and we'll be able to spin it. And you know, there's Haystack and there's Palmer and we'll go from there. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time tonight putting this together and then we'll have a map that isn't this thing, which is what I've been using. So, all right, cool.
This will be much better for the computer. Thank you, Christina.
Sure thing.
Thanks,
All right,
John.
7-3. Bye-bye.
7-3.